SIB, that is Skill Impact Bond. National Skill Development Corporation NSDC has launched Skill Impact Bond, in which there is a creation of new kind of bond in the market, in which will be governed by the skilled people of the country. So, how far is the people are skilled in India and partners with the other partners is a part of this scheme. So, it is India's first impact bond involving the private partners as well as the public players by National Skill Development Corporation. Alliance also works for the development of skill based education, skill based training, skill based employment and skill based framework, and it benefits up to 50,000 young people for 4 years and cost for the 14.4 million of fund infusion. Next is Krishi Udan 2.0. So, Ministry of Civil Aviation has launched a program for Krishi Udan for the agricultural sectors and agri produce on 53 airports across the northeastern states and tribal regions of India. So, 53 airports for the tribal produce in terms of agro products of northeastern states. Okay. And it also makes the resource pooling, like there is various kind of plantation agriculture in the northeastern areas, then bamboo plantation, various kind of vegetables are there, various kind of varieties of tea are grown in northeastern areas. So, that needs directly transported from those states to other export cities, and that are fetching a huge foreign direct investment in this sector. That is why direct airport facilities to the northeastern areas has been provided under this scheme. So, it aims for resource pooling through establishing convergence mechanism by interlinking e-Kaushal, that is Krishi Udan for sustainable and holistic agri-logistics. Now, agri-logistics by holistic patterns of transport and supply chain mechanism. So, efficient supply chain mechanism adds for this Yojana. So, e-Kaushal aims for national agriculture market. So, in addition to e-NAM, it aims to transfer the resources that are produced at the village and tribals level to various parts of the country and across the world. Now, next part of the news is PM national wise river ranching program. So, what is river ranching program? So, in order to have more and more production of fisheries in terms of blue revolution system, the government of India has launched the fisheries and river ranching program under Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, and that is again a part of improving fisheries sector. So, it aims for rising productivity through expansion, intensification, diversion of funds for the fisheries and fishing sector. It helps in achieving sustainable fisheries, reducing habitat degradation and conserving biodiversity, maximizing social economic benefits and accessing the ecological balances. So, therefore, scheme becomes very important. And now, what is trench farming? So, SOCM has suggested that there are herbs, vegetables in the hilly areas of Ladakh. So, newly created Union Territory of Ladakh has a trench of herbs, vegetables which are grown with a suitable climatic condition, growing leafy vegetable, spinach, fenugreek and coriander lie. So, in a size of 30 which is crossing 10-3 with transparent ultraviolet stabilization of 200 micron polythene sheets to be used, and therefore, the farmers relocate the trench turn into a location friendly module. So, there is a low turn technology and trench farming in the zone, and which leads to a trench system of changing of location from one place to the other in order to have better productivity from the crops and plantations and the vegetables whatever are grown. So, that is trench farming. Now, What is Sveriges Riksbank price? The news was seen that the 1968 Central Bank of Sweden, Sveriges Bank, has launched a memory of Alfred Nobel. In the name of Alfred Nobel, who was scientist, there is a Sveriges Riksbank prize launched in Sweden, which provides for the innovators and innovative ideas of scientists. So, Nobel Peace Prize was provided in denomination of Nobel Foundation in 1968 from Sveriges Riksbank. That bank aims to rise of the prices and consumption of funds from the banking occasion. So, that is bank's 300th anniversary. That was 300th year of foundation of this bank. That is Sveriges Riksbank, and in a memory of Nobel Peace Prize developer, now Alfred Nobel. So, what is IEA? The next news comes about International Energy Agency. So, it was formed in Paris after post-World War scenario in the year of 1973 and 74. International Energy Agency looks at the holistic pattern of energy based model for green energies, for better utilization of renewable energy sources, production and development of electricity, and handles the challenges and issues arising with the electricity. So, it is the heart of global dialogue over energy, providing analysis, recommendation, and countries providing secure and sustainable energy for all. It publishes World Energy Outlook, Oil Market Report, and other reports. Remember, this reports very important for film's point of view. Is World Energy Outlook, Oil Market Report. In 2017, India was added to the energy level for better consumption and production of green energy. Then its members aims for strategic depth of India's crude oil reserve and technical assistance, especially in clean energy sector. Now, what are the criteria for members of IEA? IEA has provided membership to those nations which are having green energy sources that are discussed here. That is a crude oil or product reserve with having 90 days period with development of crude oil reserve and crude oil sector, and previously net imports to which the government is providing its own address. Then second is the demand strength program to reduce national consumption up to 10%. Third goes for legislation and organization to the operation of coordinated emergency response mechanism. Then fourth part goes for legislation and measurement of energy and all the oil companies into their jurisdiction to report information upon the request. Last part is measurement in the place to ensure the capability and conformability of the reports that are provided into the energy sector in the active action. Now, what was the news about Seychelles? So, Seychelles added a tax, Inspectors Without Borders. So, what was the program? Seychelles is a developing country which launched a program for the inspector on the borders in order to look into the trade and mechanism of international transaction with various countries. So, Seychelles aims for clean transaction and aims for transferring technical knowledge for skill based and tax audits through the sharing of best prices, and further it aims to focus programs with that of transfer pricing, cases of tourism and financial services sector. India has committed to support trade investment with Seychelles, Eswatini, Sierra Leone, Uganda and Bhutan. Then India has also joined with the United Nations Development Programme and Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development in order to have sharing of tax audits and skills development based knowledge to the developing countries. Now, what are the significance of the recent moves? The significance shows bringing uniformity beside enhancing the security. Then next part goes for enhanced depth of the operational areas with add to effectiveness of the border security force. Then next goes for the necessities of increasing instances of drone dropping. So in terms of security, the various issues rising out leads to development of technologies and effective use of the mechanism of technologies, modern technology of drones, and the border areas where BSF people are working. So various border areas are connected with rivers, and that become very fragile for the international people. The various criminals and terrorists enter through those areas. So by modern technology of drones and appliances of cameras, they can be easily detected even in the night watches. Remember this fact for your paper 3 security. Then how is the mechanism of CAPF works? CAPF is working with the border crossing forces, and there is AR with the help of BSF, then ITBP, then Sashastra Seema Bal SSB. Now we look into the other parts, that is special forces by NSG is also created to look into the internal security. Then there is forces for internal security also, that means CISF and CRPF. So remember this fact that how AR, PSF, ITBP and SSB are working in the northeastern region, which are very prone to infiltration and very fragile zones, because too much of river connectivity, too much of forest, too much of hilly terrains and too much of adverse condition leads to more and more penetration of terrorists in these areas. Further, the border of BSF is deployed with the India's Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, and ITBP is deployed in the Indo-China border, and SSB is deployed at the India-Nepal and Indo-Bangladesh border. So again a part of GS paper 3 security. Out of these 7 Central Armed Police Forces captured both the BSF, Indo-Tibetan Border Police and Sashastra Seema Bal. Then Border Guardian Forces BGF are there, Central Industrial Security Force is there, then the public sector and private sector taking the VIPs also. Then Central Reserve Police Force is there that looks into the security measures of President of India and all the central government bodies, establishments and central government offices, whether it is a Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha building, in the buildings of state offices. Then Crown Representation of Police Act of 1939 leads to formation of CRPF at Neemuch, Madhya Pradesh, and the mission of CRPF is to enable the government to maintain law and order, public order, internal security efficiently. Then there is National Security Guards NSG, that was conceptualized and created after studying and analyzing special forces like SOS, and United Kingdom GIGN in France. So they are working in the same condition as the SOS of England and GIGN in France. Then NSG commandos are trained at the high risk tasks to capture hijacking, counter-terrorism operation, anti-threat operation and various kind of assault prone operations. That is why they are one of the elite class forces of India's internal security. So we see that at Indian borders how these functions are working. So Indo-Afghanistan is there 106 km border, then Indo-China border is 3488 km, Indo-Bhutan border 6099 km of fringing, in which SSB is installed, Indo-China border ITBP is installed, Indo-Afghanistan border we see border security force, Indo-Pakistan border again border security force, and Indo-Bangladesh border again border security force, Indo-Myanmar border again BSF. So India has vast coastline of 7516 km that is secured by Indian Navy and Indian Coast Guards for coastal security. Okay. Remember this fact and quote this data whenever you are writing answer on internal security, what are the challenges faced by India at various levels. So, you can quote this data to get a better marks. Now, importance of border state. So, the border state are more cumbersome and more challenging to look into the security that has regions and communities constitute India's first line of defense, critical link and its national security. That is role in foreign policy, that India is having many of the nations and neighbors with infringing borders. So, India's policy making in terms of Panchsheel and Gujarat doctrine, they are also included in the development of economic and social policies in terms of security also. Then enhancing regional cooperation is also issue of India, where in the era of globalization and privatization, the regional security as well as the regional cooperation is needed. India exchanges many kind of textile, food and various kind of materials, goods and commodities from the neighboring nations. That is why it becomes important. Then northeastern India also have close relationship with Myanmar, Bangladesh, and that makes the infringement of the border, which is again very porous in nature. Then sub-regional integration. So, in the regional integration we see that how different regions are being interconnected effectively and engage in center to deepen sub-regional integration collectivity. It affects in lobbying cash and seen in India's proposed decision to open 70 border hearts along with the border with the Bangladesh. बांग्लादेश के बॉर्डर के साथ 70 हार्ट्स खुले हुए हैं. हार्ट्स आर स्मॉल मंडीज, स्मॉल मार्केट्स. Now, hypersonic platforms. What is the news? In August, China was engaged in the hypersonic platform in which hypersonics was tested by China. So, again a part of security was speeding toward the target, which is a nuclear capable hypersonic missile, and China pierced at the fractional orbital bombarding system. It is very crucial for India's security challenge because China is time and again showing its imperial vision over the Ladakh border, Arunachal border, and it is infringing the border again and again. So, China has tested such kind of missile which is hypersonic in nature and fractional orbital bombarder with hypersonic speed. So, weapon could be a fly over the South Pole, and they had challenge for the US military because of US defense system focused on the northern routes. So, why it was challenging for the United States? In the northern region of the pole, the US has lots of military installments and the airports. So, USA is having a global hegemony as a superpower in terms of capturing the areas of the poles, Alaska region and Greenland and various other parts of the world. So, China tested such kind of missile that becomes challenge for USA, and China on the board has quadrupled size of the arsenal and building new seaload interconnection ballistic missiles, ICBMs, which are nuclear capable bombarders and nuclear armed submarines. So, this kind of missiles can be fired from the air as well as the water bodies also. That is a challenge for India as well as USA also. Now, next part is so I believe that is the end of this lecture for this class. I believe you are working hard for your prelims as well as mains examination, and meanwhile you are focusing on the current affairs, which makes 30% weightage of your answer writing as well as prelims question. So, focus more and more, do daily revise, repeat and regain yourself with the much knowledge which are flooded across the market. Be very precise, use your skills to understand the facts very well. Bear with us. So, thank you and have a nice day. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.